So I want to share some reflections on Beha'alotecha. And it starts right with our portion, that this is from chapter 10. Chapter 10 begins, Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, not an unusual way for a section to begin. Aseh lacha shtei hatzotzrot, kesef, miksha ta'aseh otam, v'hayu lacha lemikra ha'edah, ul-masa et ha-machanot. And what it says is that the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, have 2 silver trumpets made, make them of hammered work. They shall serve you to summon the community and to set the division in motion. When both are blown in long blasts, the whole community shall assemble before you at the entrance of the tent of meeting. And if only one is blown, the chieftains, heads of Israel's contingent, shall assemble before you. But when you sound short blasts, the division encamped on the east side shall move forward. And when you sound short blasts a second time, those encamped on the south side shall move forward. Thus short blasts shall be blown for setting them in motion, while to convoke the congregation you shall blow long blasts, not short ones. The trumpets shall be blown by Aaron's sons, the priests, and they shall be for you an institution for all time throughout the ages. So we have 2 trumpets, and this was actually a question that we never got to. What alerts us to make forward motion? We didn't answer that question, I realize. But we have 2 silver trumpets that are made, and they are used to message or to signal the community. One is to bring them together, and the other is to alert them of something that is going to happen. And it makes sense to have a trumpet because, of course, a trumpet is loud, the sound carries, it is greater than passing a note, it is greater than screaming from one to another, that a trumpet or some type of instrument makes sense to be used. So hatzotzrot might be the perfect tool, that type of trumpet. It is a sound, it is loud, it travels distances. And it is used both for movement and for warning. And as I reflect on the words of the Torah and of our lives, I want to make sure that we are sending out the correct signals to our community. Not just signals to gather or to rally, and that might be to gather or to rally for change, but that we are also signaling an alarm for change. It is too easy for one to be muted in the cause of the other. We rally together when we gather. And last Sunday, hundreds of people gathered up and down Old Georgetown Road. It was really amazing that in partnership with 6 churches in Bethesda and Bethel, there were signs and chants and car honks, that people were masked and social distanced, some more social distance than others, but there was plenty of space for people to be spreading out up and down Old Georgetown Road. A letter from the Bethesda Houses of Worship has been co-signed and will be released shortly, stating our solidarity with the continued struggle for people of color and our commitment to stand united to fight for justice. And Tzedek Tirdof is the rally call. And it's not enough. That it is not enough to just simply gather and sound that trumpet of gathering without sounding that trumpet of alarm. Rabbi Naomi Levy, in this book that you know that I love so much, Talking to God, she offers this prayer, a prayer for overcoming indifference. I watch the news, God. I observe it from a comfortable distance. I see people suffering, and I don't lift a finger to help them. I condemn I condemn injustice, but I do nothing to fight against it. I am pained by the faces of starving innocent children, but I am not moved enough to try to save them. I step over homeless people in the street. I walk past outstretched arms. I avert my eyes. I close my heart. Forgive me, God, for remaining aloof while others are in need of assistance. Oh, wake me up, God. Ignite my passion. Fill me with outrage. Remind me that I am responsible for your world. Don't allow me to stand idly by. Inspire me to act. Teach me to believe that I can repair some corner of the world. When I despair, fill me with hope. And when I doubt my strength, fill me with faith. When I am weary, renew my spirit. When I lose direction, show me the way back to meaning and back to compassion, back to you. Amen. We do nice things all the time, and it's just not enough. Doing enough to appease ourselves is not enough to cause change for others. Let me just say that again. Doing enough to appease ourselves is not enough to cause change for others. So I'm glad that we came together with other worship communities last Sunday, and it is not enough. It cannot stop there. You know, at Passover, we sing Dayenu. If God had only brought us out of Egypt and no more, Dayenu, it would have been enough. If God had only defeated the Egyptian army and no more, Dayenu, it would have been enough. But I am telling you, if all we do is organize a rally and we attend it, it is not enough. If all we do is to put out a lawn sign, it is not enough. We cannot only sound the trumpet on occasional gatherings, we need to sound the trumpet of alert and of alarm and of change. Rabbi Ivy Weiss, who is really an incredible leader and teacher in our day, he writes a book that I've had long on my shelf, Principles of Spiritual Activism. In it, he tells this story. He says, the Torah discussion of the Exodus from Egypt, the paradigmatic events that shape the core of our understanding of redemption, illustrates our point. Having just left Egypt, the Jewish people find themselves surrounded by the sea in front and the Egyptians behind. Turning to Moses, they complain, "Are there no graves in Egypt that you took us out to die in the desert?" Moses reassures them, "The Lord will do battle for you, and you can remain silent." In the next sentence, God tells Moses, "Speak to the children of Israel and tell them to move forward." This approach to the situation on God's part is rather striking in view of Moses' prior promise that God would immediately succor his people. The bleakness of the moment is compounded when one considers that moving forward would lead the Jews directly into the churning waters of the sea. Here, Rabbi Aharon Soloveitchik notes a distinction between the terms Hatzlacha and Yeshua. This is the younger brother of the Rav, of Joseph Soloveitchik. Both terms relate to being saved, he says. Hatzla'a, however, invokes no action on the part of the person being saved. The person is merely passive. Yeshua, in contrast, is a process whereby the recipient must do his or her share in the rescue. When emerging as a people in Egypt, we experience Hatzla'a. God and God alone took us out of Egypt, says the Haggadah that we read at the Seder. As a newborn is protected by its parents, so were the newborn Jewish people protected by God. And throughout the first chapters of the book of Exodus, the operative word is Hatzla'a. Once out of Egypt, the Jewish people, much like a child who grows up, were expected to assume responsibilities. Moses thought Hatzla'a would continue, but God declares no. The sea will split, but only after you do your share and try to cross on your own. Hence the sudden shift in expression to Yeshua as the Jews stand near the sea. Rashi, the master commentator, makes this point about God's response. Tell the people to move forward. In his words, in Rashi's words, this is not the time for lengthy prayers. The message is clear. You have already immersed yourself in prayer. Now is the time for action. The sea does not split, says the Midrash, until the Jews try to cross on their own. So we are told that we must take responsibility for our actions. And for me, I need to understand more. That's what I need to do. I need to listen more. I need to not assume that I know the experiences of other people, of their pain, of their hardship, the troubles that they have, that I need to listen. As Proverbs states, Reshit Chokhmah, what is the beginning of wisdom? To acquire wisdom, you must first do everything you can to acquire understanding. So what do I have to learn? How do I acquire understanding? The first is that I need to learn more of the subtleties of discrimination. It is funny that we always lift up that as Jews, we understand discrimination. We have made a holiday out of understanding and reminding ourselves that we must reach out to others because we were slaves in Egypt, but we have no firsthand knowledge of what it means. That even understanding that parts of Montgomery County were blocked to Jewish home purchasers long ago, that is not in my life experience, though it might have been in our parents if you grew up here. But I do not have an experience of firsthand discrimination. I need to listen more. I know, the second is that I know that I will be made uncomfortable, and that is okay. It's probably more than okay. If I am not uncomfortable, I am not learning new things. I'm not pushing the boundaries of what I already know. It is necessary to move beyond my comfort zone, and I'm prepared for that. And I hope that we can do that together. I have to learn of systemic failures which have been incorporated into so many aspects of who we are, of excluding people in economic or healthcare. It's not or healthcare, it's and economic and healthcare systems, and in education, and in food distribution, and in banking, and in so many systems, and on and on. I need to learn more. And to be honest, it has surprised me that a few, and it has only been a few people within the congregation, have come to me and said, that doesn't exist. I challenge you to listen and to get beyond where you are, to hear about discrimination that is taking place and failures of our systems that we take for granted and that we have benefited from. And that gets me to the fourth point about what I have to learn, is that some people use the term privilege in a derogatory sense. I'm fortunate. I'm fortunate for living here in Montgomery County, and I'm fortunate for living in my part of Montgomery County. So I am not sorry for the privilege that I have or that I extend to my family. But what I have to learn is how I can use that privilege to lift others up. How do I use the access and the privilege and the resources that I have to lift up other voices, to let them have a megaphone that is louder or in different areas than they had before? This Tuesday night at 8:15 in the evening, Bethel and Tikvat Israel will be doing a program together, all on Zoom, with Jews United for Justice, that I am sure that some of the conversations that will be taking place will take us down some of these avenues. So I encourage people to register, either from the link that's in the announcements and the emails, or directly from our website. It's this Tuesday evening. So as the Parsha says, we have to blow the chatzotrot for gathering, for alarm. It has to be loud. It has to move us. And I think then it will move us as a people, no matter where we are encamped around the Torah. So I want to close with how I opened, a prayer for overcoming indifference. I watch the news, God. I observe it from a comfortable distance. I see people suffering and I don't lift a finger to help them. I condemn injustice, but I do nothing to fight against it. I am pained by the faces of starving innocent children, but I am not moved enough to try to save them. I step over homeless people in the street. I walk past outstretched arms. I avert my eyes. I close my heart. Forgive me, God, for remaining aloof while others are in need of my assistance. Wake me up, God. Ignite my passion. Fill me with outrage. Remind me that I am responsible for your world. Don't allow me to stand idly by. Inspire me to act. Teach me to believe that I can repair some corner of this world. And when I despair, fill me with hope. When I doubt my strength, fill me with faith. When I am weary, renew my spirit. When I lose direction, show me the way back to meaning, back to compassion, and back to you, God. Amen. I hope that you'll be uncomfortable with me. And I hope that the first steps to wisdom is understanding. Shabbat Shalom.